While I was in New York, I got the opportunity to meet up with Ori Inbar, CEO and co-founder of Ogmento, an augmented reality gaming company.
All right, Ori, if you can just tell us a little bit about your background and what you're doing with Ogmento, please.
Sure. So my background is in software development, management, and marketing, and I've been in a couple of startups in the early '90s, developing multimedia products when it was still cool, business software, and later on created one of the first enterprise portals that eventually was acquired by SAP software, the biggest business software in the world, where I was responsible for the strategy around SAP's platform. So basically took it from a mere concept to a billion-dollar business for SAP. And then 2007, decided to leave, had enough with a big company, came home, spent some time with the kids, and realized they're spending all of their time in front of a computer screen or playing video games. And on one hand, it felt great because that's how people interact in the 21st century. But it felt like they're missing a lot in the real world. So that's when I thought, what if we try to take some of the things that attract kids in computer games and bring it into the real world? And I thought I invented something new. Then realized after some research that many people have thought about it before, and there's a whole computer science domain, augmented reality that does that. But it became my passion really to bring this really cool technology to consumers, to the mainstream, so that everybody can enjoy it, not just the labs in which it was hidden over many, many years.
So what are some of the games that you guys have built so far?
So with Ogmento, it's basically, the idea was games is really a great way to bring new technology to the market. It's like the killer app for almost anything. So we thought the same would apply for AR, and the idea is to get kids and adults away from the screen and into the real world. And we're creating all sorts of games. Some of them you can play on a tabletop or on the floor for 5-year-old kids. That's a spelling game that we've created. Or other games are played in the city. So the city is your game board. Your favorite spots around the city, like the coffee shop, the bank, grocery store that you go every day to, may become part of a game, and then your daily routine could become much more interesting. So a lot of it is location-based, but then adding the visual interaction, which only augmented reality can provide, is what's really taking it to the next level and making the whole experience much more intimate and just making your life more fun.
And so it sounds like you're not just mobile, but also web-based and that kind of thing as well.
So yeah, mobile is kind of is the main delivery mechanism for the games, just because if you want to be in the real world, you have to be mobile. But we're also looking at some games that are going to be played on social networks on a computer with webcam. But it's the thing with computers and webcams is that the experience is not significantly different than just playing with a virtual world in front of a computer. And that's why it's a good starting point, but then you have to extend it into the real world with mobile devices that take it to wherever you go.
Okay, so is it a platform? Do you build like specific games, or is it something kind of like a tag what, where I can upload and create my own games? Is it something like Layar, where I can build the games out, or do I just come to you guys and say, hey, I've got a really cool idea for a game, and then you build it?
So first and foremost, we build games. That's really the idea, and the reason is that it's really new, and nobody is familiar with this kind of experience. So first you need to show people, hey, it's not just a cool technology. You can actually enjoy it, and you can actually commercialize it. So that's why the focus is really on the content itself. But during this process, we're actually investing a lot in very hardcore augmented reality technology. So it's going beyond the pseudo AR, using GPS and compass to overlay graphics. It's really about seeing computer vision that identifies objects and aligns the graphics in a much more accurate fashion, so that you can really have this kind of intimate interaction with real-life objects. But yeah, when we build our own games, we collaborate with some major franchises, but also create our own original content, and we constantly look into the AR community for new technologies that could be taken, that could be leveraged inside games. We're also looking into the gaming community for ideas. People that have great ideas on how to take augmented reality into that world, but don't have the expertise on the technology level. So we're trying to really fuse the two worlds, which are currently quite apart.
So you guys have an office here in New York. You have an office also in Los Angeles, correct?
That's right.
And where else?
That's it. I mean, it's already a lot for such a small startup. So when I joined forces with Brad and Brian in LA, which are coming from the gaming and entertainment world, it was just a match made of heaven. I mean, we really struck a chord, and we felt like, we share the vision of how to take augmented reality or how to take gaming into augmented reality and vice versa. Ideally, we would have loved to be in the same office, but they live in LA, and actually that's where a lot of the movie and gaming world is happening. So we decided to focus the R&D efforts here in New York. So Oriel and Nate, which are PhDs in two of the best PhDs in augmented reality, joined us here in New York, and that's where the R&D is focused. And the creative team, the studio, with the game designers, the artists, are based in Los Angeles. So kind of good separation between disciplines, but we talk every day, all the time, and we meet pretty often. So this fusion of the minds of the AR tech and the creative side are happening all the time, and I think that's what we hope will really make a difference, and what we can come up with some games that uses new technology but are fun to play and can be successful commercially.
Do you have any game titles that you'd like to plug or something to keep an eye out for?
Unfortunately, we can't talk about some of the cooler stuff. There's one game that we've already shown before, which is Put a Spell, a game teach 5-year-olds how to spell, with a little panda that appears on a tabletop and challenges words with a missing letter. You have to find a letter to complete the word, and you're actually using real-life cards, so it's pretty cool. Parents love that. That's coming this fall, and there's a couple of marketing projects that we're doing with other companies that will be available pretty soon, actually in September. The big ones are coming in October and November, so kind of our original games, pretty massive investment that went into it, and it's going to hopefully be not just a showcase of the technology, but also a really fun game to play with many people playing it all over the world.
All over the world, okay.
That's the idea.
Right on, right on. That's interesting when you said about helping entrepreneurs and those kinds get started. What is some advice then that you would give people who are coming into this space and have a great idea for an AR application or product but don't know where to get started, which is usually the case with a lot of new industries? What would you recommend for those aspiring?
Yeah, I mean, I can share my experience in that sense, which was first, it's all starts and ends in your passion. I mean, if you're passionate about a certain thing that you can do with this technology, then nothing's going to stop you. It could take half a year, it could take 10 years, but you're going to get there, and everything will fall into place. That's the main thing, and never give up. That's what they always say. But there is, if you have something to share, if you want to have a conversation with the community, there are people out there which may not be in your town or in your city, but they're out there, and you better reach out to them and start a conversation. It helped me a lot. I mean, I learned a lot from the people that read the blog and just enriched me with knowledge, ideas, and so on. And start building something. I guess my experience is that don't search for the money, but start creating something. Start creating value. Start making even if you have just an idea, you can develop it. create a PowerPoint, to create a concept video, do something to show your ideas so that other people can enjoy it, and soon somebody will notice it and will either partner with you to help you bring it to reality, or even invest in it if it's compelling enough. So follow your passion.
Excellent. And speaking of investment, did you guys recently close a round of investment, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, back in April this year, which is 4 months now, we got a first round of investment of $3.5 million by led by Chart Ventures here in New York, and that allowed us to hire a fantastic team on board and really start working on our own original content. So before that we were mostly bootstrapping, so working on work for hire projects with different brands, marketing campaigns and so on, which was great, to kind of learn and build some foundation of the technology as well as the content. Now we have the ability to really focus on really what we want and push the whole thing forward. And as I mentioned before, we're going to launch some really cool stuff in the next coming months. So I started, when augmented reality became my passion, I felt, I want to document my journey in the search for the ultimate augmented reality experience, which is kind of the tagline of the website, of the blog. And that allowed me, first and foremost, to communicate with the community and to get to know the leading labs and companies and just AR enthusiasts around the world. Kind of a great way to just share my ideas, to share news with people, and people starting to communicating to me so that I can share their information with the community, and that was great. And then I realized, there are a couple of other really, really good blogs in this space, and right now it felt like people have to go to multiple blogs to get information. So Ruli with Augmented Times, really fantastic blog, and I told why don't we join forces? I mean, Games al Fresco is now very popular, but a lot of your stuff is something that I always refer to. Why don't we just collaborate, join forces, and share it all in one place? And then later on also did the same thing with Thomas Carpenter, which is another fantastic blogger in the space and a huge fan of AR, from hardware through software and experiences. So we joined forces, and actually we're open to anybody that is really interested in writing and sharing their thoughts in this platform. It became really a platform for sharing, on one hand, the latest news in augmented reality, but also ideas, visions, and concepts, and becoming, hopefully, a platform for conversations in the community.